a Adelaide hug before, please make liberal use of the chat to provide us with feedback, ask questions, whatever you need to do. The goal today is really to make you more familiar and aware of the new tools in HubSpot. We really want to focus these sessions in on existing HubSpot users so that you can keep up to date with all of the new things in HubSpot. So to that end, we want to talk today about HubSpot's new help desk, which as of their spotlight about a week or so ago, that is now out of public beta. But what I thought might be helpful before we do that is to just talk through some of the new things that HubSpot announced at their spring spotlight. And then we can have a chat about how you can get some of those things activated in your HubSpot portal. And then we will work through the new help desk functionality, and in particular, some of the really cool, very advanced functions that you can get implemented in your organization. Hopefully that aligns with what you're all looking for today. But if you've got any other questions, whether we're covering it or not, please use that chat function and say g'day, and we can work through that to make sure that you're all covered off. So we're going to start with deleting Google Chrome because my Chrome has decided it doesn't want to play the game today, which is super helpful. It started playing games right before we started this call, which is just the best way to do things. All right, so for the new HubSpot functionality, I want to introduce you to a website on HubSpot's site. So hubspot.com/spotlight. Is where they put together everything that they announced a couple of weeks ago. Now, if you've been following the betas quite religiously, which we'll talk about how to enable that in a sec, you would already have seen some of this functionality. But the basics things here really are down to making sure that you've got the AI tools to work more efficiently and effectively. And then building out a better experience for the people who work in different roles in HubSpot. So HubSpot, as it's grown from a marketing and sales tool through to a full-fledged CRM, through to a support tool, it really needed a little bit more reporting and specific kind of dashboards for different roles, which is what they've really worked on building out over the last 6 months. So having a look at this, if you haven't already looked at Breeze, that is the name for HubSpot's AI. They're using OpenAI and other providers just like everybody else. But what this really does is it really brings together the power of having all that data in one place in the CRM. So particularly as it's relevant to help desk, you can see we've got the customer and knowledge base agents here. And this really looks at, if you're using the HubSpot knowledge base, you've got all that lovely data there that we can train the AI on. And the trick to getting good AI really is to make sure it's got good training. And so with those agents in place, and we'll show you how to set that up today, you can go through and review all of the information so that your AI can basically serve your customers faster than humans can. You can help the humans with pre-drafted emails. We can set up the live chat with the automatic search for the answers. So really, and then now one of the things that it can do is start to look at the emails from your tickets and go, hey, we actually can suggest some knowledge base articles that should go in your knowledge base. Articles that maybe humans have either overlooked or just didn't think about adding. The prospecting agent, a tool that they introduced a little a while ago was create like a personalized podcast. And that personalized podcast would provide a sales rep with all the information that they needed to prepare for a sales meeting, which was awesome. But now what they're doing is they've built a prospecting tool that can actually researches your targets, creates personalized outreach for that person in that company with that persona, and can then personalize that outreach at scale in a way that we really haven't been able to do before. So there are a variety of different tools that can do some of this, but what HubSpot's doing is alleviating that platform overload that you get when you've got 6 different tools being able to do that. It doesn't break in between. You've got your content agent, been around for a little while, but now it's got a few more functions. So again, this is about being able to train it better. So look at topic suggestions for new content, upload reference files so it understands your tone of voice and how you'd like to speak, and really make sure that it's got the basics that you need there to be able to provide content that feels like your organization. We don't want to put out a lot of content that just smells like AI. We want to make sure that that content is very specific to you and your organization. So we'll dive into the knowledge-based stuff shortly, but definitely recommend you start doing some testing of the content agents and the other agents. And one thing that HubSpot have really prioritized over the last 18 months is expanding what you can do in WhatsApp. So some countries in the world, WhatsApp is a huge support channel. And you can see here that now the agents can actually respond in WhatsApp. And really between WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, email, phone, SMS, they're really trying to bring all of those channels together into a central experience, which is what Help Desk is all about. Some quick things for Marketing Hub Enterprise, multi-account management. This has been a bit of a pain point for a while, but if you are an organization with multiple businesses or multiple different divisions, there is somebody on this call that will remain nameless that fits into this exact bucket. In the past, you've kind of had to choose between Marketing Hub Enterprise and business units and trying to split out your assets and things that way. You run Marketing Hub Pro or below, and you just live with the fact that there is some crossover in terms of branding and things. Now what we're able to do is create multiple HubSpot accounts and sync data in between them. So this is a new way of approaching having multiple accounts. In a lot of cases, it's more cost effective than the current Marketing Hub Enterprise and business units model. So it gives you another option to make sure that you're getting the most out of HubSpot. Journey automation is something I want to cover in a future hug this year if y'all want us to cover that. So journey automation gives you a visual builder so that you can build out those customer journeys, which is a bit different to what we're doing at the moment with you build a workflow to do this part of the journey, you build an email to do this part, you don't actually consolidate it all into one journey. So big change there. Really excited about lookalike lists. You can now take your best customers and create AI-based lookalike lists that can feed in. Now you'll notice here that there's a couple of things like join beta, request beta. I will show you how to do that in just a sec, because there's some really exciting other things coming there. And some additional Marketing Hub Enterprise functionality here. They're really focusing on those integrations with third parties. So we can look at the integration with HeyGen to create personalized videos, messages, and more data coming in from Zoom. Because what we all needed, and spoiler alert, is another meeting recorder. But HubSpot have developed their own to put that data straight into HubSpot. Now, I talked before about the prioritization of these individual workspaces. And we've got a customer success workspace here, which is designed around your customer success leads, your team leaders, your account managers, those kind of people. You can set up all kinds of criteria there to be able to determine clients that might be at risk. You can then follow through, see the services that they're accessing to make sure that you can get them accessing more, look at the revenue that's coming in, and really just make sure that from a high level, your customers are happy and they're getting what they need. The help desk workspace is our major focus for today. So really bringing all of the help desk functionality together. It's not too dissimilar from the ticket functionality in a way, but it does bring those different channels together in a way that we haven't had before in HubSpot. It's been in beta for probably 6 months at this point, so you may already have seen it. The sales workspace has been around for a while as well. Brings in the lead object, so you've got a better understanding of where the leads go, and be able to qualify all those leads in one place. So salespeople can now go straight into a sales workplace and see their leads rather than get swamped by existing customers and things like that. A lot more here. This page is hubspot.com/spotlight. And the other place to go for everything new in HubSpot is hubspot.com/new. All right. And there are no questions on that. So I think we will move over to HubSpot and show a bit of help desk. All right, welcome to Help Desk in HubSpot. Now, many of you would already be familiar with the ticket pipeline in HubSpot, and you've got your nice buckets across the page, or swim lanes, as some people like to refer to them, and it stages out the process of customer support. But when you're dealing with really high volume of tickets, that isn't necessarily the most efficient way to manage that data. Equally, we have help requests coming in from a range of different channels these days. Some of them are coming in from email, some of them are coming in from phone, some of them are coming in from WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, all those things. In some cases, a ticket might actually include multiple touch points on multiple channels, and we need to be able to drive all of those together into one place. So this is the new area that we've got, which is Help Desk. You can see here that I've got a summary that shows me open tickets, closed tickets, time to first reply, time to close. Now there's a bigger focus here on some of the requirements for larger businesses where HubSpot Service Hub wasn't really as competitive as options like Zendesk. And they've really invested that time and resource into making sure that they develop those features so they were feature parity. One of the big things that people often raised about Service Hub was the ability to create multiple knowledge bases wasn't there. Now it is. And this sort of SLA reporting and other channels is really helpful. So this is our basic summary dashboard. You can go through and filter that out by the teams. So if you've got maybe a level 1 support team, a level 2 support team, business unit 1, business unit 2, you can filter all that out, get really clear. You also see the status of your team, and HubSpot has got a lot better on being able to track when people are away. There is a Google Calendar integration here that picks up that Nikki and Melissa have got their out of office turned on, so they are away, and we can set up our help desk to no longer allocate tickets to them, which is another really helpful addition to the process. When we go in to analyze the tickets, we have all of these set reports that are created for us automatically. Tickets created over time, first reply average over time, first response SLA completion status over time, messages received. And you can see here that we haven't started using help desk yet. So there's just a few test transactions in here so far, but this is something that will grow over time. This tells you your tickets closed, time to close tickets average. So you can see here that there's some pretty complex tickets that have taken a long time, and the average customer experience survey feedback over time as well. All right. So this is the out-of-the-box reporting for HubSpot Help Desk. But we can go through and we can edit these, we can make changes, we can build custom reports. So really we can get this down to whatever we need to get this down to essentially. And once the report is built, we can set it to whatever timeframes that it'll automatically update for you. So you can see this is set to in the last 365 days, and that date range finished up yesterday. And if I check it tomorrow, it'll be finishing up today. Now, in terms of the tickets themselves, if I go to all open, you can see we don't have any tickets here. So with the tickets coming in, there's a range of different ways that they can come into the help desk. So let's actually have a look at how that gets configured, because we really want to know what are the channels that we can feed into HubSpot Help Desk. So I want to go to the settings. And one of the cool things HubSpot have done over the last little while is when you're on the help desk page and you click on the settings, it takes you to the help desk settings section of your settings. So that's a cool little addition there so that you know exactly where you're going. And this is where I've got all of my different settings for my help desk. So I mentioned before that I wanted to look at the channels that were feeding into my help desk. So under ticket sources and routing, I've got an option here that says channels. I click that and away I go. Now, a lot of different ways that we can get people into help desk. Now, one of the biggest ones that you may or may not have seen so far is Aircall is the only phone provider for HubSpot at the moment that integrates with help desk, with the exception of HubSpot Calling if you use HubSpot Calling. So if you just give me 1 sec, I'm just going to change my screen sharing settings so I can share my whole screen, which is this one here. So now I have my channels all set up here. Now, these channels I configured previously, and these are all numbers coming in from Aircall. So if I click edit on this number, you can see this tells me I can change the settings specifically for this number. So set ticket properties for the channel. I can set channel specific properties, or I can just apply my general help desk settings. So you might have 2 different business units that need different settings. In a lot of cases, all of your numbers are probably going to have exactly the same settings. But you can see here that you can go down the road of setting custom SLAs per number, defaults for the tickets, the pipeline that they go on, the status of that ticket, customizing your sidebar for those, and of course the AI tools that we'll have a look at shortly. But if I go to connect a channel, I've got a connect a channel button and I've got to move a channel from the inbox. So if I start with connecting a channel, here is all of my options. There is a lot there. And the exact options that you'll see here will vary depending on the third-party integrations that you've got set up. So you see here that we don't have Aircall here as an option for phone because it's under calling. So if I click on calling, it's going to choose who my provider is. We have HubSpot calling turned off. I just feel like it creates a bit of confusion if you've got HubSpot calling on and Aircall on. So I can click on the Aircall button and it automatically is integrated with Aircall. So it'll bring up any phone numbers that aren't already connected to HubSpot and then let me link those in. So you can see these are all grayed out because they're already linked. I can't add any more. And I can connect them to whichever channel that I need to connect them to. One thing that would be new to us, if I go back here and go connect a channel, You can see Aircall have now set up SMS with Aircall as an integration here. So I can click that, continue with SMS from Aircall. It's going to want all my information about my account. So it's going to look for SMS enabled channels. And apparently there aren't any at the moment. Cool. Now, specific forms, if you've got specific customer support forms, your Facebook Messenger, all those kind of things. Now, if you're an existing HubSpot customer, I'm going to assume that you've already got a lot of this set up through your existing inbox, your existing different functionality that you've got set up in HubSpot. So if I go connect a channel, what you want to do is you want to move that channel from the inbox into the help desk. So this is where it's going to choose what I want to transfer over. So maybe I want to transfer my sales channel over, and I can choose which channel I want to move. So we have a chat flow, we have a hosted email, we have a creative brief form. So if I move that email channel over first, you can see it's going to transfer everything over. I can choose whichever pipeline that I want to bring that over on. So I'm just going to go with support pipeline for now. And then I've got to map the conversation status compared to what's already being used. And then it's going to move that over into help desk for us. And I'm not going to move our main customer support because our team will freak out about the fact that all their things have been moved. But it's that simple to start transferring things over and then be able to see them all pop up in here. Okay. And the process here, the thought process here is if we've got everything coming into the one channel, we can then automatically create tickets based on incoming and outgoing phone calls. Incoming and outgoing SMSs can create tickets. And those tickets, when they're created, they're subject to the service level agreement that you've got with your clients. You've got the reporting and the ability to create workflows and things around the service level agreements as well. And of course, we're recording and we're logging all of these phone calls and SMSs and things to be able to provide that enhanced level of support that we're looking to provide there. Now, in addition to that, you can see down the bottom here, I have collaboration integrations. So we use Slack here quite extensively. Your tickets can be automatically synced to Slack so that you'll get updates coming in. And one of the things that often freaks out our new starters here is that you can respond to the live chats directly from the Slack threads. So that way you don't have to leave Slack. You don't have to go back to HubSpot to be able to provide that prompt support that you need to provide there. So, and the Teams bot and the Google chat bot are the same. They provide you with a couple of alternative options there. So all about making sure that it's functioning in the way that you need it to function to get quick responses for the team. So that gets our channels in. And so now if I go back to my help desk, you'll see that there's a few things that have been synced over from our sales email. So now we have some tickets that have all come in by email. But really one of the more exciting ones here is if I go to the phone icon up here, which is why I changed my screen sharing, what HubSpot have done here is to make the help desk function the way that it needs to function. We have the calling completely integrated with HubSpot. So you can see here when I click on this, it allows me to choose a calling provider, and we use Aircall. Tells me that my calling window is closed, so I can't make or receive calls if it's closed. So I want to open my calling window. Now this is a bit of a different experience here because we need to keep this web page open to be able to receive these calls. But it's kind of a hybrid window. So if you look at it, you've got the HubSpot icon up here, and I can see app.hubspot.com. So I know that it's part of the HubSpot experience, but you'll also notice that it's got Aircall written up here. And if you were an Aircall user, then you would know that this is the air call icons down the bottom here. And I've got all of my numbers up here as well. So what is going on here is essentially this is an air call integration with Help Desk and HubSpot calling in particular. And when I use this to make and receive phone calls, they will automatically be assigned to tickets. So this just allows us to remove that step in the process of needing to go through and manually create that ticket. We don't need to build a workflow to specifically create these tickets. This is a part of the calling experience in Help Desk that we need to have set up to be able to use this. So I can go through and I can use this dialer just like I would normally. You can see it's prompting me here to make sure that my audio is set up correctly. That's fine. It'll show my call history. It'll show my message history and have all of that set up there. So I can call an SMS directly from HubSpot Help Desk, knowing that that'll be logged and knowing that it'll be subject to the service level agreement. Okay, and that's a big change from where we've been. We've used Aircall as a completely separate third-party system. We've used HubSpot completely separate. Now we're integrating the two while still getting the benefits of the power of each. So I'm going to leave that open just for a red hot sec while we go through some of the other things here. New function that we've got in Help Desk at the moment. You can see that we've got these 9 dots up to the top right-hand corner now. I can change this layout to a different version depending on what I would like. So the table layout, many of us will be familiar with the table layout. The split layout is more like the inbox layout, where we've got the incoming messages on the left, and we've got the ticket details on the right. And you can see here's this great little Breeze AI integration here that gives me a summary of the ticket. You can also see that the inbox that I imported, we don't use for genuine business very often, which is why this has come in about our Facebook page being deleted, which is obviously not true. But Adam, when this comes in, we can still go to the old ticket views and we can process that accordingly. But we can go up here, we can split tickets and merge tickets. So if somebody starts to email an old ticket about a new issue, we can split that out. If somebody sent 2 emails about the same ticket, we can merge those in. Or, you know, one of the things that we ask from people is if a ticket is urgent, please give us a call and let us know after you've emailed through the details. And so we can merge the phone call and the email so that everything is in one place and nice and easily tracked. And my favorite thing here is marking this one as spam because that is rubbish. So that all goes away for us. And finally, with the views here, we want to go back to our board view. A lot of us will be more familiar with this. And you can see here that even though we are in the help desk view, we have the same pipeline stages as we had in the old ticket pipeline. So we've got that familiarity, which is nice and easy. And we can obviously change these at any point as well. So some people are going to go into help desk, and we've had this experience with clients, where they go into help desk and they absolutely love it. They love the new view. They love this one's here. The table view seems to be the favorite one. Whereas other people want to go back to the classic pipeline view and have something a bit more familiar. A whole range of different functionality that's been added here, though, that you can see unassigned tickets really quickly. So if no one has been assigned to a ticket for some reason, you can access it there. If they're assigned to you, if you have different teams set up, customer success team, different business unit teams, and you're the team leader, You can see the tickets that are specific to your team. You can follow tickets without being assigned to them now, which is a really interesting change. So if I open this ticket here, this is allocated to Twee at the moment, but I can choose to follow this so that I'm abreast of what's happening with this particular ticket without actually being the person that's allocated to work the ticket. All right. Same with mentions. Now, mentions are one that's caught people off guard a little bit over time because we've got this functionality down the bottom here where we can email or comment. And it's quite common for people to start to write that in the email field and get a bit confused there. But I can go through and I can tag myself in this. Please review this ticket. And I can add that comment, and then it will be flagged for me that I've been mentioned. And that's really helpful because especially team leaders, if they don't need to be across actually actioning it, you can see that's come through now. They can go through and look at all the tickets that have been mentioned in to provide support to their team rather than having to work the tickets themselves. Okay, and then of course I've got my all closed here. But you also see I've got the ability to create custom views here as well. So we can create views of whatever filtered view we want. So if there is a particular way that we want to cut this data to be able to provide the most relevant view to our team, we can click those buttons and we can get that sorted. And look, to an extent, that's probably the pretty standard stuff here. But what I really want to chat through now is some of the really cool stuff that has been implemented here, particularly the AI-powered functionality. So look, we've got the chat flows. We've had chat flows for a while. They're better now, better than they've ever been before. The knowledge base, still here, better than it's been before. Same with the customer portal. But just with the knowledge base in particular, a couple of things to note here. First thing is they've updated the knowledge base and they've updated the ability to customize the themes. It's not quite as fully fledged as the normal HubSpot themes, but you can customize it a lot more than you've been able to customize it in the past. However, you can make it look a lot more on brand. It does require a conversion of your existing knowledge base, but that doesn't take too long. It's not particularly painful. But where this knowledge base becomes really helpful is in feeding the artificial intelligence. So really what we've got here is we've got a range of different common questions that people ask. We've got those all in here as updated dates, all categorized. And so this is a function that's been available in HubSpot for a couple of years now. This isn't particularly new. But what is new now is back in my settings here where I look at things like the customer agent to automate customer responses, the chat flows, the AI tools. We can go over here and we can tell it where to pull this information from. So this is our customer agent. We use this customer agent on our website. You can go on and chat to the little Refuel bot, particularly on our knowledge base. If you go to our help center, we call it, you'll be able to see all of that there. If you go over to the content here, this is where we're training the bot and the information that needs to be provided. So, and this information is all coming from our knowledge base. So we're syncing all of our knowledge base into this bot so that when you go to talk to the bot, it's not just performing a search of the knowledge base. It knows the information that's stored in the knowledge base and it can provide you with the answer that you're looking for and then link you across to what you need. So it's a huge difference compared to what we've been doing in the past. But you'll also see here that we've got 289 sources here. So we have our website pages being synced in. We have our landing pages synced in. So let's say you spoke to one of our team at an event and we talked about a ads audit. you're not sure where that was, you'll be able to find that information here. Our ebooks and our content offers, even our blog content, we can choose whether we do or do not sync all of our blogs into this bot. So you think about how much information this bot now has about the way that we go about business, things that have happened in the organization, common questions and answers. It's now able to provide useful answers with a lot more context than what we've seen in the past. So a huge boost. And then when we go up to add content here, you can see one of the cool things that's just been added is the ability to include files. So PDFs primarily. So you can see there it's saying text, PDF, HTML, etc. So you can upload 20 different PDFs in here. So again, it's really about training that bot so that it's got the right information. The useful thing about being able to upload PDFs is it means you don't have to reformat the information. So huge bonus to being able to respond quickly to all of these tickets. If we go over to actions, you can actually build actions that you want the bot to perform. So we can go through and describe what the action is, trigger phrases. So this is a great one. Where's my order? The bot can go through and find out where the order is and provide that person with an answer. You can see here we can set up an API so that we can go and get that information from a third-party platform and then provide the instructions for the response. So you see this gets really sophisticated, what we can provide here. It does require you to be able to feed that data over to HubSpot, but that's probably the easy part these days. Most systems will have some form of integration or API that can feed that data over. So really being able to provide, even if it just provides draft content to people, huge boost in performance there. Of course, we get the reports here. So it tells us the conversations that were received, conversations that were deflected, handled, the ones that had to be handed off to a human, and the questions that got unanswered. And then based on those unanswered questions, it can come back to you and go, hey, we think we need to add some knowledge base articles here. But just more and more that it can provide. Knowledge gaps. Hey, apparently there's been 2 conversations here where I wasn't sure about store location. This one was trying to sell us cleaning supplies for an office that we don't have in San Diego. So, you know, look, it's unfortunate that the bot wasn't able to answer that, but I don't think it's ever going to, so that's okay. But the fact that it's picking up on these gaps that have been missing, and then we can go through and identify new knowledge base articles we need based on actual need. We've got the functionality around where the bot is going to take over. You can see it's assigned to the website, and we can edit the routing there. So if it can't answer, it's going to go to our support team. And if a human agent is unavailable, we're going to assign that over. So again, this is not necessarily about replacing the humans. This is about allowing the humans to be more efficient and effective in what they're doing. Because if the humans are dealing with the hardest support cases, and the bots are able to take over the easy ones, then everybody's going to win. All right, and then finally here we've got we can change the avatar, change the name, the role, so you can have a sales one that's a lot more salesy. You've got your personality here. We like to think we're pretty friendly. You can set the languages as well, and then the different messaging that you get for your handoffs. So that's one part of the customer agent configuration. But if I just go back to my help desk, we also want to have a look at the other AI tools here. Again, the reply recommendations now. Again, it's your knowledge base, your website, your landing pages, your blog. So the more content that we feed into this, the better. This is also a big argument for using HubSpot's content management system as well. We have the ability to sync our website, our blog, our landing pages because they all exist on HubSpot. Whereas if you add content, HubSpot content and links, you can still import public URLs, but you need to know what they are and you need to go and look for them. Or it's a lot easier if you can just go into syncing your existing content from HubSpot. Super, super easy that way. So I can set that and it's going to automatically sync those all in. Even down to cool things like we've found the bot responding to customers when they ask about, say, our Google Ad services. The bot will go back and look at our case studies and it will actually describe the case study in fewer words so that person understands not just the service that we provide, but how effective it is, which is a hugely powerful tool. Now, the other one that I really want to cover here that I find just staggering, I'm going to have to go over to my test portal here to be able to show you this, because this is a Service Hub Enterprise only function. But if I go over to my help desk, which it's going to do the same thing it was doing before. While I'm getting the correct portal to load up, has anyone got any questions on what we've talked about so far? No? Okay. Here is the portal that I actually wanted to show you. So we have a test enterprise portal, a Service Hub enterprise portal, where we can go through and demo things for you. And you see here that in the help desk setting, there are a couple of things here that are enterprise only. And one thing that we've heard a lot from our own team, from customer teams as well, is we want the tickets to be allocated to the correct people. And in a multidisciplinary team like ours, we want to make sure that the bots know where to send these people. So if you go, the new function that's come in here is called skills-based routing. So effectively, if you define the skills that your team has, so for our team, maybe it's HubSpot, maybe it's video editing, social media, paid social, things like that. You've got an option here to actually manage your skills. So at the moment, the ones that are set up by default are language-related skills. So I could go through here and you can see I've got 3 users in this portal that have got English as a main language skill. That's because I've only got 3 users in this portal. But if I said that somebody had a skill in German, that's what Deutsch is for those who don't speak German, I would absolutely not say that I have German as a secondary language, just putting that out there. But I know what Deutsch is. I did year 9 German at school. Then if somebody comes to the website and starts to talk to the bot in German, that conversation can be routed to the person on the team that speaks German. Now that's a really sort of simple way of looking at it. But if I go to create skill, I can create categories. So we don't want to use languages here. We can create whatever categories we want. Let's say user skill, and let's call this user skill Google Ads. Let's call this one Meta Ads. Let's call this one HubSpot. And let's call this one Web Development. Cool, now I've got 4 skills that I can apply, and they will appear in my list down here. Now I've got actions here. I can see users with the skill. I can see rules with the skill. There's none yet, but we're going to do that in a sec. So if I click this and see users, there are none. So I can assign this to myself, and now I am the user with that skill. So great, now we have a user with that skill. So next thing to do with the routing, now that I've got my skills set up, I can create a rule set here for my inbox. We're going to call this Google Ads. And if the ticket's detected as being Google Ads related, then I'll be able to route that automatically to the person with this skill. So Google Ads, assign to a particular user, or look at other rules as well. So we want to make sure that we are getting the right person allocated faster. At the moment, our team in particular, we rely on a system where the ticket gets round robin allocated, and then people need to reassign it if they're assigned to the wrong person. If we can automatically assign that to the right person, we can get onto that ticket significantly faster. The other cool thing that I mentioned here as well, capacity limits is a new function here. So I can set the capacity, how many tickets I can take at once. And if I have a service seat, then I will stop getting assigned tickets when I'm at my full capacity. So if I said that my full capacity was 20 tickets, at the moment I'm only allocated 2 tickets, so there's no issue here, but it can look at how that could be better allocated. Okay, we talked a little bit about SLAs. That's not particularly new, but I'm happy to go into that if anybody needs it. But again, we're bringing a lot of the functionality that HubSpot built over the last couple of years into one place. So support playbooks for guidelines for service processes, your ticket defaults, your pipelines, everything's kind of being brought into one place to really improve the customer experience. And I would expect over the next couple of years to find that HubSpot basically get rid of the old ticket pipelines and they centralize everything onto help desk. All right. Last thing here is your availability management. You can see that this shows my capacity. It shows whether I'm available or away. I showed that to you before, but you can now set work hours and things like that, so it knows when people can be allocated, and it allocates the ticket to the right person so that they can respond faster. Now, before we wrap up, one thing that I just want to show you is some of the functionality that I showed you today may not be available in your HubSpot portal yet. And HubSpot have recently moved where the new functionality can be requested. But all of those things in the spotlight that I mentioned were a beta. If you go to the cog up here, or you can go to this menu here, which has just disappeared for some reason. But what you're looking for is this tab here that says product updates. So if I click on product updates, it takes you to this screen now. And this is where you can see all of the things that are new in HubSpot. So if this is a beta that you need to request access to, you'll see this request beta button over here. You can see I've already requested this. But this also gives you an idea of the pace of change in HubSpot as well. So HubSpot's meeting note taker, this is a private beta. If I click on this, I can see exactly what the note taker is, exactly how it's going to work. It gives me a good overview of how it will work. Brilliant, love it. I really want access to it. So I click on the request beta button and then that gets added to my portal. It's really important to make sure that you read this and understand the implications for your portal, because sometimes you shouldn't turn these betas on without telling some of your users that you're going to turn it on. Also, the sunset option here is going to show you things that they're removing. So this is when they've replaced some functionality or it wasn't used very well or whatever it is. This gives you a heads up, tells you how big a release impact it's going to have, what products it applies to. So things like sunsetting the Stripe 1.0 integration, that's pretty old. That has a pretty high release impact though, because if you don't move over, then there'll be an issue there. So you can click on that and you can see what it means and how it's going to work. You can also see the betas that you're currently enrolled in. And so a lot of the functions I showed you today, we're enrolled in 129 different betas. And you can see just the sheer variety of things that are here, the products that are related to it, new email editor, deal sidebar experience. So when I go to, when we're talking about service desk, help desk, you can see here I can filter this by Service Hub and see all the specific Service Hub functionality that is here. Layout settings in the help desk, that was the new function I showed you today. The feedback AI summaries, that's been brilliant. So a lot of functionality that you can turn on here. That happens in that product update section. And you'll have access to all of this to be able to see different things that you can turn on. But always read the product update before you turn it on, just in case it breaks things. Some of them, though, you can turn on specifically for your users so you can test it before it goes out to everybody else. So that's the ins and outs of the new help desk. Really glad that it's out of beta now, so it's going to work for everybody. Great question. Can the knowledge base articles and agent be used as an internal agent? We're considering creating a ChatGPT agent and teaching it about us as a resource for staff. Could HubSpot also do this? Now, this is a really interesting one because you can create one based on private content. And now that you can create multiple knowledge bases on some tiers, you could create a private knowledge base that's specific to your internal staff. We've certainly looked at doing that with some of our onboarding material. And you could have the bot there that's specifically trained on that private content. But one thing that I always kind of look at when I get these questions is this content that could be released publicly? The more information that we can put out publicly, the better for people that are accessing your website. So I'd really sort of question whether it's added publicly or privately and determine how that can be set up. The more private that information needs to be, whether you're concerned about a competitor getting a hold of it or something like that, you could always use the PDF or the text file upload. I noticed when I was looking before, it accepts Markdown uploads. So if you're exporting from a system that uses Markdown, which is what our system, we use Tetra internally, that exports everything out in Markdown. You can just import those in and probably take you 5 minutes to get them all in there and get that learning. So a range of different ways that you could do that, but you could definitely do that in HubSpot instead of ChatGPT. My favorite thing about doing it in HubSpot would just be, particularly if the information is becoming publicly accessible, the bot automatically knows that information is automatically kept up to date. Whereas if you're creating a bot in ChatGPT or Claude or something like that, you've got to keep feeding it that information so it knows what it's talking about. So you've just created a job for somebody, which is fine, but it also means that it needs maintenance. Now, we've got a couple of minutes left. Any other questions on HubSpot or what I've covered today? Any other areas people would like me to dive into? I'm really looking forward to sort of where HubSpot can go with the groundwork that they've laid here. The AI-based updates and summaries on tickets has been a really helpful update, particularly on contact cards and company cards and things like that. The addition of the meeting recorder is going to mean that we're going to need less meeting recorders, and we're going to have all of that information natively in HubSpot. We're really centralizing a lot more information on HubSpot, even if we're working through third-party platforms, and being able to more efficiently help customers wherever they are. The WhatsApp integration, Facebook Messenger integration, using AI as well to be able to provide that level of support, I think is going to be huge. We've seen it really powerful being able to use Facebook Messenger for lead acquisition. So I think incorporating customer support as well is going to be a big deal. We're just scratching the surface at the moment of what's going to be available, what's going to be possible. So it's exciting to see how that might work. If we have no other questions, then I'm going to sign off. But thank you everyone for joining our first hug for the year. We are booking in our friends at Aircall to talk to us for one of the future hugs. But if there's any particular areas that you'd like to see, then feel free to reach out to us. You can email me at ryan@refuelcreative.com.au. And we really want this to be as useful as possible for you. So we're happy to take any requests and try and facilitate those. But in the meantime, thank you very much. You have a great night, and I look forward to seeing you at the next hug.